In today's video, we're going to create a shopping redstone system. This is a redstone circuit that will allow us to have a fully functioning shop. But this isn't going to be any old shop. We're going to try our best to make this shop as fancy as we possibly can, while still making it buildable in survival Minecraft. Yeah, it's a bit of a long to-do list, but I think we can manage it. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to actually create the area. And I'm going to try my best to actually make this look half decent. So we're going to have maybe 4, 5, maybe even 6 items on sale, and they're going to be on display on one of the walls. And then what I want to make sure of is that all of the items come up through some form of water item elevator, so we see them traveling upwards and then they pop out of the top. Yeah, I think that seems like a good idea. Alright, so this is what I've come up with in terms of our design. As you can see, we've got some buttons out the back here. We've got a pig that's just installed himself in the system, but if we hit these buttons, that will then activate and that will select the items that we want. So we can go, okay, I want redstone, I want repeaters, and I want maybe redstone blocks, and all of those will stay selected. Then we can place our diamonds in this chest right here, and that's when the circuitry will start doing its thing. So now we actually have to create that redstone circuitry. First things first, I would say some RS0 latches out the back of this thing. Now, the idea behind these latches is that when you hit the button, it will unpower the redstone torch, which means that when we put a diamond inside the system, it will then allow that diamond to drop through this hopper right here, because that will now be unlocked, and that will begin the transaction. So you will have then purchased an item that will send a redstone signal through, and you'll start getting your items back. Now, I am thinking we should probably have some form of indicator system which shows on the redstone lamp that you've actually selected it. Now, I imagine we can just do something like this. However, that could cause a problem with bud powering of the droppers. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the case. So if we hit this button here, yeah, that doesn't look so good. If we hit the button, okay, no, it did switch across. So the redstone lamp's just turned on. I wonder what happened the first time then. So if we send it back and then do it again, how peculiar. So it only works on the second time. Let's give this new circuit a go. So if we hit the button, that seems a little bit better. And then if we just give it a quick reset, so that will go back across. We hit the button again, and everything's functioning. So I've just had to drop down the RS0 latch a little bit and then run the circuit across the top here. This thing is starting to look pretty spectacular, if I do say so myself. I've added in a reset circuit, so now, if we select some things and we're like, you know what, I want pretty much everything, and then we go, actually, I do not have enough money to buy these, and we just hit this button and that will reset all of the RS0 latches and they will all switch off. So if we just do this, and you can see all of those switch off. So this is working. The actual selection system is working perfectly. Now, I guess we just need to run a hopper line across the back, and then we will have the hoppers that drop down underneath, and that's where all of the money starts coming in. We do have a bit of an issue though. This comparator here just does not detect when the item travels through the hoppers. I wonder if it will do it on this one. No, it just drops through too fast. That is a problem. I don't know what to do about that. I think I might have fixed it, and that's by putting a bit of a twist into the circuit. So you can see that we have the hoppers, and they go across like this and then down, and that means that the item should get slowed down by this little bend here, because it doesn't get sucked out the bottom instantly. And well, I suppose we should probably just give it a tester and see if it functions. So if we grab ourselves some redstone and then we put an item on the inside here, it will have to be a diamond because we'll have an item sorter up at the front, but for now we can just use purple wool. So that will go through, that will activate, that's reset our RS0 latch, so that has now been turned off, and I do believe that purple block has made its way into that central chest there. Okay, that's brilliant. Now that also means that we can take a redstone signal from this and then run that out into some form of pulse extender, which then goes into a redstone clock, which will then send our items back through into the system where it will send out the repeaters and the comparators and everything like that we're buying and send them through our item elevator and out the front. I hope all of this makes sense. For the pulse extenders, I really don't know what to do. I mean, if we place an item on the inside here, you can see that it fires and we get a handful of items, but I think it's only, 6. And realistically, I want it to be either in 16, 32, or 64. So we're going to have to do a pulse extender, but it has to be 1 block wide because we can't have loads of these next to one another. That could be tricky. But now that I think about it, we could stagger them. This setup is a tiny bit better. It gives us 24 items. I wonder if I can just slightly increase the length of the pulse just a tiny bit to maybe get us to 32. I think 32 would be a good number. Or potentially, I mean, what happens if we run something over like that and then make the selection and then put the item on the inside? What happens there? That doesn't... Okay, it's given us 8. Yeah, that's no good. That's so close. I got 31. I wonder if I could literally just have... I'm gonna add a falling edge monostable circuit which goes into this thing. Finally, we've got that thing up and working, so now I've got to repeat it for every single one of the modules that we have right here, which means we're actually going to have to clear out a little bit more space in my hillside because this build is getting... it's getting pretty enormous. I think this might be the biggest shop I've ever created. This thing is totally ridiculous in its size, but I love the way that it looks. It looks super cool. Anyway, I've just started work on adding in these little areas down here. So these little things are going to be where the items are going to be transported through. They're going to make their way into this section, and then we're going to have water which is going to push the items across like this, and then eventually they are going to make their way up through this chamber right here. So this is going to have water on the inside, and they're going to flow out the top and then fall on the floor, or probably even this glowstone block here, right in front of our chest. So with that full water system in place, it's now time to do the final little bit, which is just the payment system. So we're going to need an item sorter, which is then going to sort out any random items from the diamonds, because we don't want people not paying in diamonds. And then we need to have a hopper line, which I'm guessing it's going to go somewhere over here. Where am I? I don't want to break any redstone. This is the thing. Oh, well, I think it's safe to say, ladies and gentlemen, I have absolutely nailed that. So this is exactly where we need to come out. So I'm very surprised by that. So we pop out here, and then that will connect up to that hopper line right there, and that will transport our diamonds across. Now, one thing that I am thinking about these random items is I think I might redispense them back into the water stream, so they come back. So if someone puts in something that isn't a diamond, it will then go back into the water stream and then pop out the top. And also, if someone puts a diamond in when nothing is selected, then we can also drop that back into the water stream, and that will pop back out the top as well, so that we're not kind of stealing things, stealing people's items. Let's see if this idea actually works. So if I place in some cyan wool, there we go, it just gets rejected and puts back in. But if I place in something like a diamond, that has been accepted by the system and is making its way in there. Perfect. So now we're going to see if the entire system works, and I am absolutely terrified for this, I have to say. In theory, all of this should work. There's one thing that I've forgotten. I need something to slow down the flow of diamonds into this circuit. Just a quick redstone clock. I also actually need to connect up my input chest to the actual circuit. I haven't done that yet. Okay, so we weren't quite ready yet. Right, I think we've got there. There were a few things that were wrong. I had to change up the item elevator. I've had to change up the observers down at the bottom there. I think I've fixed all of the issues that we have, and I've swapped around any mistakes. So I'm going to select redstone, I'm going to select comparator, and I'm going to select hoppers, and I'm actually going to place 4 diamonds on the inside of the system. So let's chuck those in, and a random item, which should hopefully be rejected. Okay, that's all looking good. And then we should see the diamonds going up. And I might need to place blocks on top of this so that those diamonds don't fly out. But this is all looking good. So there we go. the correct 3 got selected, and then hopefully we should see a diamond popping up through in a second as well. So there are all of the redstone dust, and there's all of the repeaters popping up. We have some hoppers as well. That's good to see, and there is our spare diamond. So that means that in theory, okay, fingers crossed, we should now have the correct quantity. So we've got our slab, we've got 32 redstone, 32 comparators, 32 hoppers, and our spare diamond that hasn't been spent yet. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. This thing actually functions, and I have to say, I think it's really, really cool. I hope that you enjoyed this redstone video. If you did, please smash that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.